Welcome to our hourly Zoom of creation. I had a lot of fun promoting it. I am aware that I chose to write something that might trigger some people and bring up some points of views. And I was like, yes, I accomplished that. So I'm very, very happy. For me, creation is fun, and we all have points of views. We all have some kind of conclusions. We all have something going on, and that's not per se a problem. The fun part is choosing to look at what triggers you. What are the things that show up when we voice something? And I did choose to say, and this comes from an inspiration, by the way, from the Bowmans. We were talking about creation in Vienna the last time, and Stephen blurbed out something because there was a lot of facilitators there, access facilitators, and there was a conversation about class creation, and he's like, what if you didn't have to create so many classes? And it was very interesting because hardly anybody started asking about that. Everybody continued with what they knew, and I was like, oh, let's see what we can create here, because it's not about that you should schedule less. Not at all. I don't have a point of view. You fill your calendar. I think it's awesome. Do it. I really don't mind. But what if we filled more classes, and not from conclusions, not from expectation, not from limited points of views, from really, let's generate an institute and make this so much fun that you never want to stop creating. You don't want to stop creating classes. So you maybe want to create even more classes. But also the willingness for people to show up in your class. Because a lot of people create from lack, from less, and hope that their class will be filled with people because maybe they will pay your bills or they will contribute to something else. Sometimes we already have an expectation what we will create with the money that comes in, or we have a conclusion with it, or we have already planned the money that is coming in. Or maybe you have a point of view, it will save your life if you have people in your class, or it will save the problems you have. And this is where I want to see if we can get out of where we create from lack and limitation to a prosperous creation. Because we all know lack, and I started with Access having absolutely no money, like really hardly making the bills, and my income was just shitty. Let's say that, very clear and very direct. And that was okay. And I was so grateful for Dane showing up in Sweden and somebody inviting me to that class. I was the right body for you class, and I was like, I don't need a body class. I need something with money. But my body kept telling me, go there, go there, go there. So at some point, I ended up there. No? And when I started creating classes, yes, it was from, there was this energy that I wanted to create more money because I didn't have money. And then there was another aspect showing up that I had so much fun with it, and the change it created, and the fun, and it was good, creating a lot of fun. And there was still, in the beginning, a lot this like, oh, I do want to create an income. I do realize I never doubted that it would create an income, or would create a process business, or create a business that I like living, but it took a while to build it up. And I grew up in a family business, so I also have some experience about it can take a little time to grow something. You need to be willing to invest some time and commit to your business. And I was like, if we hope that something shows up, for me, that it's almost like the opposite of creation, if I'm hoping. And having access in my life and learning everything about questions and letting go of points of views and conclusions, I was like, this is fabulous. So I always have things I could add to my business. I always have a possibility to create more. It's not logical. It's not linear. There's a lot of to-do things involved, and there's also an energetic creation. All of these things together are freaking amazing. So we have, I can say, phenomenal tools. I was creating classes and sessions and workshops before Access for years. Some were good, but I also functioned from points of views of lack, of not having enough, of still surviving. And it's funny because I always made it work with money, but it wasn't always the way I thought it would be. I made people, well, people gave me money. It was very interesting how I created money. But at some point I understood when I was talking to Dane and Gary was the willingness and commit to my business generating so much money that I can choose to do what I would like. For me, it was almost like, I hope I can do that. I first have to make the money. So I didn't have, at that time in the beginning especially, I didn't know how to do that, having money and just choosing something. And this is where I saw that, and I realized, like, oh, I want to create so much money in my life that I can point at one thing and say, I'd like to have that. Because for me, I'd like to have that, but I first have to create it, and and it was dramatic. Often made it, but it was also a lot of drama. So when I realized that that was also points of views in me that I had to change, then it was like, oh, okay, everything's here. I have so many possibilities. I have so many tools. I have a lot of awareness. I can ask tons of questions. I can be facilitated every day if I want to, because I'm going to ask people, ask me questions. So there's tons of possibilities, but I have to be willing to create and not hope and not wish and not, I hope it will make it because I did this and this and this. What if you were always willing to create and generate more, no matter what? No matter what. What would happen if you, this might not come from one day to another, but if you're willing to start looking at, are you creating from any limited point of view in your classes? It does sometimes still show up with me, but I kind of get the sense, because it always gets like, ugh, it gets like dense and it's not fun. Usually the fun goes away when I have a point of view. So I've noticed creation is most of the time a lot of fun, because it basically triggers more questions, more ideas, more to do, more this, more da, 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 da. It's never ever linear. It's not, I do this, 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 and then people show up. No, I set up things so people can sign up. I set up things so people can find me. I set up practical things, but then I also start asking questions for that specific class, what it requires. And then I also see creation is not one thing. Creation is a lot of things together. So it's not a separate entity always. It is a class entity, but then you have lots of entities. So if you're, for example, a facilitator or creating classes or hosting classes, because you don't even have to be the facilitator, you can also be the host. I don't see a difference in the creation. Often we choose a difference. I got to train my muscle a lot with hosting a lot of classes for Dane and Gary for years. And for me personally, it was never a difference. I even use the tools even more for Dane and Gary, because it kind of like gave me more space to do that. So I was very, very grateful for hosting for a long time, until it wasn't fun anymore. And then I chose something else. And this is where everything's a choice and we can change all the time. So I have a lot of things to go through. I'm like, woo! Yeah, this might be a couple of hours. Get ready. I might just open the floor for 5 minutes or a couple of minutes for you guys to say hi, or if there's any specific thing you want to address or anywhere you're super stuck. Because I'll try to do some way of putting things in word and going somewhere, and then also not defining everything, but also willing to ask some questions, and also tools that I use in creation, and commitment, demand, actualization, and things that I want to deepen a little bit more, because I see a very different thing when people are committed to their classes too. Do you guys have any questions specifically, or things that you would like to change or are stuck in or something?
Actually, can you hear me? Hi. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for this topic, actually. I know we go sometimes downsize and whatever, implants, explants, all kind of things, distractor implants, whatever. But this Facebook and all the media, people spread all their classes, makes me more panic. When I go to Facebook, it's a million classes, and it's kind of what they said. The English is competition, kind of.
Yeah.
I have that energy, but I don't want to go in there. But I read Gary said about the competition is if you get out, also it's kind of competition. I mean, if you not also on the field, also this is kind of competition.
Yeah.
I'm doing, and but still I'm getting panic when I see many classes. I'm panicking, and I change my mind. I even don't put the same date or same time to classes, and I made myself less, but I of course poke and pot.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit same circulation.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Jada, I think you address a big topic. I think we can have a Zoom only on Facebook topic, because there is a lot going on there. Number one, when I look at the energy you bring up, I would really ask first, is that your energy? Is it yours or somebody else's? The panic.
Somebody else's.
Because it's like
on Facebook.
It's like an own world. And here's the thing, if you go back to the energy, if I create from a limitation lack, I then everywhere I try to create or invite, I often bring in a little bit of an energy that it has to work, or this there's a stress involved. There's an energy that is not authentic. It's not engaging. It's not you. So when people go there and they post, especially when they do this efficient posting, 5 groups at once, and it's the same post everywhere, or 10 groups or whatever. And the more posts, the better. That is from desperate or efficient, and not from really, I'm creating from the energy I know. So when I go on Facebook, I can look at things, and when I go like, I haven't done anything, then I stop myself, because I know that's not me. In that moment, because I've done this for 10 years with Facebook, and I play and I love Facebook, but when I go to that, I was like, hey, stop. And then I start parking that energy, letting it go. Because for me, I would like to post, even sometimes I post a couple pages too, and I do all of that, but I want to go in with an energy. This is me. This is what I'm inviting you to. This is what I have fun with. And maybe somebody hasn't seen it, because it does happen that people get blind or are on a certain time or so on. So sometimes we want to post it a couple of times, but it's from the energy, hey, you're invited. And it depends on what energy you are, because this is one thing when I coach people on social media, I ask them and look at what are you? Who are you? What's your energy? What's unique and you? And not thinking, just like, what do you like doing? What is fun for you? Because I see social media can be fun for everybody. Some people need information to make it fun. Other people need to really just like land in themselves and choose something. And are you willing to create from your space, your energy, what you know? Maybe personal from you. So basically I do lower my barriers, and then I look, hey, what can I write here? What's different? What's authentic? What's me in this moment? And it can be long, it can be short. And then I also am aware every time, I can't always just post something that's marketing, because people do choose you as a person and not only the post as marketing. They might look you up and want to read something. So if I go to somebody I want to maybe visit or go to classes, and I go on their Facebook and there's nothing there, just photos of their class, I'm like, who is this person? So this is what I do a lot in my trainings and social media coaching, is look, who are you on social media and what fun can you have? It's not about creating an image. So you have to style yourself. This is me and this is what I say and this is the energy. Those are enough there. There are enough of them. Huh? And it's a lot of work to keep your image there. But being authentic and lowering your barriers and getting out of competition is awesome. So if you're in competition and reacting, that's one thing. If you want to take yourself out of competition, that's what Gary says. You're still in competition. You're just on the other side. I've done that. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't seem to be a more fun energy. And then I'm like, okay, what can I do in all this generating something different? And competition usually only exists when I compare. And when I have a point of view, I'm less and somebody else is better than me. If I believe that there's not enough, if there is only a certain limited way of creation, not even limited clients, and a limited way of creation, because clients, how many billions do we have on the planet now? There's quite a lot. And how many thousands do you have in your country and around the world? There's a lot. You don't even have to limit yourself in a small country like Sweden, 9 million, or Denmark, 5. You can be in a bigger country if you want to. But even in the small countries, I see people generating an amazing business. So there's never not enough. There's just not enough if I've decided it's limited. If I don't believe I can create and generate a different business, if I am dependent on people choosing from one area, like for example, if I'm not willing to look at what it really means to create a class, and I think posting my class on Facebook and posting on the Access website, that will create my class, then yes, then I will usually get into competition. I will be defending, even reacting, and I'll try to get it out there as much as possible. But I also can say almost every person I ask, because I'm very curious often, will sense if there's a desperate energy in this post, if there's a joy in the energy. People are aware, and this is also non-access people. So this is the funny part. We think, oh, but we did it so nicely, blah, 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 whatever. But your energy goes through. It's really funny. And people are aware. They just don't have the words as we maybe have, that we have worked a little bit with access consciousness, have changed vocabularies and get more aware, put words on that. But other people just sense it. And they're like, no, it didn't feel great, or blah, blah, blah. There was somebody competing with me a lot in this city years ago. And when she posted things, people would comment that afterwards. Why did you do that in the same week in the same class as you? I'm like, because she did. In the beginning, I sometimes reacted. And at some point, I'm like, oh, she's copying because she has a point of view. I'm doing something right. Thank you. And that's like, it took me a while getting myself out of the energy of reacting that somebody's doing constantly the same. And I was like, oh, annoying. And then I'm like, oh, that's a compliment. That's a freaking compliment. But I had to go there to look at that if I was willing to receive that and let go of my reaction. And also if I had a point of view, let go of that. Because if somebody's, and also if somebody's stupid, we sometimes, when they do stupid things, they comment stupid things, they judge you on social media. Oh boy, be aware. When you start creating more, people start openly judging you. You have to be willing to receive that and just like, oh my God, don't go in and argue too much. You can play some fun things. They usually want to make you wrong and want to make sure that you're wrong. They don't give up. And this is okay. And you can also delete them from your profile if you have them. Like, you're allowed to do whatever works for you, always. And block them. Do whatever works for you. Just look at what creates greater. I mean, people comment things on my profile that are not even my friends. And I was like, oh, this is hilarious. But this is where I have to be willing. I'm an open person. Like, we're creating classes, we're posting, we're triggering people's points of views. I know that my post triggered points of views. I'm like, let's have fun with this. But then if I do things like that, I also have to be willing to receive it and not make anybody wrong. And you guys also know when you allow yourself to receive judgments, you really allow them to judge you, it creates a different space. That's where money also can show up in a different way, because you allow everybody to show up in your world. When I was starting to creating an access business and classes, it was bars first for the half year, and then it became a CF. And in the beginning, bars classes were quite good and all that. And then I started doing foundation classes, and also together with Jonas. And we had great people showing up, but it was quite small classes, maybe 5 to 10. I don't remember, something like that. And at some point we asked a question about that. And I remember Gary also addressing the willingness to have idiots in your class. And I was like, idiots? And I still had points of views about, no, people aren't idiots. Like, he really addressed, he's very clear on the energy, and he says it because if I have a judgment what idiots means, that will stop me. So any energy that showed up, I was willing to have to look at it to change things. So it was idiots, not people that didn't want to change, people that were not really for your class, people that just wanted to have sex with you. Like, there was a lot of those different energies. Was I willing to have all of that in my class? Yes or no? So everything doesn't allow that. Can we destroy and create that? Good and better I run from fuck online shirts boys me out. So what would happen if somebody shows up and was just wanting to have sex with you? And it's the only thing you're perceiving during the whole class. You're like, what if that's allowed? So this is also the willingness to allow everybody to show up in your classes. Not always the easiest, but then also be willing to facilitate yourself. Take a moment. If it's too much, go to the toilet and breathe and pot and pop whatever is showing up, and then go out and be a facilitator. But lower your barriers. People are allowed to be where they are in that moment. And maybe the universe just triggered that energy so they would show up and choose something different in their lives. So that might just be the best facilitation for them. But if you create separation, that might not be the most invitation for more. And those are the interesting things with everything. Everything can show up. Everything. Shada?
Thank you. It was great. And actually, you mentioned, be yourself, do whatever, not the etiquette, not the style, right? And whatever you enjoy your life kind of things. Actually, again, the best marketing, it says the Gary, let me change from Turkish.
Yeah.
Get out from the real world and be in the different possibilities topic.
Yeah.
Be yourself, different possibilities topic, and get out from the real world. And you're gonna be more, become more marketing yourself. This is the best marketing, he said.
I like it. Yeah. I absolutely like. I mean, I don't know how many of my clients, how many people go to marketing events or marketing educations to learn how to market yourself on social media. And I can almost like pinpoint what course they went to, because they all do the similar things. And they do it from this reality and what's right. I mean, you can also do ads on Facebook. And I would even suggest you sometimes trying that, not from the thing of expecting people to shop in your class when you have an ad. It's more generating an energy to your life and to your business that can generate more for the future. So I always create for now and for the future. One class is never one class for me. It's one class and in the next 3-6 months, a year. So every class creation, I put in perspective that it creates more for more classes. So I can't judge one class or even have a point of view of one class if it's successful or not. If you'd like to have a point of view about your class, let's get over that too. But okay, there were not enough people in this class. If I have a point of view that I didn't do enough or it wasn't good enough, I might in that moment destroy the possibilities that I have created already for the future. And if I expect everybody to show up, I put people in the corner and expect, you know how not fun it is to be expecting to come to something? It's like you don't have a freedom.
Wow.
So you being different, the way you are, the energy you are, the bubbly, whatever you are, that's often an invitation because they want something that you are, not this is the right persona to be if you're having a bars class or a foundation or whatever class you're doing. It doesn't really matter. Or whatever creation, basically. But for me, it's always to look like, who are you? Are you doing the right description, the right words, the right posting? So what if you went out of that and had fun with your postings? And if you don't know what that means, I would start asking, what would be fun? And then you can also become aware when you see somebody else's post that makes you smile. How could I write something similar from my perspective, my energy, my way of being? So you don't copy, because then you go into the same, but not even, it's not going to be your energy if you copy, it's going to be somebody else's. But you can look at it and you can be inspired and you're like, oh, I really like that. Okay, oh, I could do something similar. And then you start asking questions how you could be that, but not trying to fit into a new box. That's one thing I'm just aware of, because then you just have a copied energy is always a lesser energy because it's not truly you, you're copying somebody else's. You have so much more possibilities when you get inspired and then you go and create from your energy. In competition, for example, when you are in competition, you can't even bring out your brilliance. Your competition will always lead to either just be I was going to say above, no, under the other person or whoever is creating, or similar. It's a little bit above, a little bit, not more, because you're basically comparing to this energy or this creation. So you have to keep yourself stuck there. If you're not competing, and this is where we want to go, you're out creating. And out creating you do usually with yourself, but you can also look at, oh, if you get triggered by somebody, if you get triggered by somebody choosing something similar, or you're in the same city or the same weekend, that's one thing I see a lot of facilitators reacting when there's a class the same weekend. I'm like, but it doesn't matter. It only creates a little bit more energy that weekend. Isn't that great? It might be activating 10 times more people because there's 2, 3, 4 people creating the same sort of class, instead of like, oh, if most people react, oh, there's so many classes this weekend, so nobody can show up. So it's competition because we have to share a limited amount of people. Instead of looking at, if all of us are creating, there might be 2 times, 3 times, 4 times more energy being created because we are 3, 4 facilitators at the same weekend creating. And this is where, are you willing to get out of the limited creations and be willing to receive the gift and contribution creations are in the world? And then we're willing to out-create yourself every day.
Hi. Can I ask? Hi. I wanted to ask you, with regards to marketing. Obviously, there's a lot of people in Access, and they have people helping them, like on social media. So, like, I work for so and so or whomever. And I'm so aware of, like, with the marketing, like, obviously, like, I'm working for someone, so I've got to post, but then I'm so aware of, like, getting it wrong or posting too much or not being me because I have to post. And I don't know how to get, like, almost around that.
So if you get, like, it's like a job, not okay, I'm promoting this class, my job is to get it out in the world, my job is, it depends on your job description. Often people do rely a little bit too much on social media than be willing to talk to people too. But if we keep ourselves to social media, for example, if I have committed to being a person that does share things on Facebook, and I come to, I have to do it, I have gone from being committed to having a point of view about it.
Yeah.
So what if we are committed and willing to ask questions, have fun with it, and when it's not fun, I put and pock that, because I might be going into somebody else's energy too. And if one thing also, you might also project, hey, what are the expectations of the facilitator on me? Am I doing enough of a job? Is it okay? And if you don't know if it's good enough, like, good enough, because that's your point of view usually, ask. Hey, is this what you're looking at? I posted this, this, and this, or is there something else you'd like? For me, it's super important that you guys ask each other questions and get feedback, if I would like to say it in normal words, or a comment, because the facilitator might like it in a different way, or they don't like it in a different way. It's a job kind of thing. So why not ask if they're happy with it? And if whatever they answer, are you willing to receive it and not make yourself wrong?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm like,
I know it's a tough one. I do know that one. So everywhere that shows up that we want to judge ourselves, if we're not perfect, right, and accomplish everything miraculously, can we just try and create that?
Yeah.
Good and bad, right, wrong, put and pluck, all 9 shorts, boys, meows. If for example, I work a lot with teams and promotions, and then I coordinate things for the Bowmans, and I've done a lot for Access. I still do promotion stuff for Access. And there is, of course, maybe some points of views or expectations. It's been interesting with Steve and Tratissa to work with them, because they have so little expectations that some people even freak out because they can't grasp the expectations. And then I go in and play with them so they get more information and feedback and all that. Because Steve and Tratissa are like, whatever they choose, because they see it's your commitment that will change your life. So they're more into facilitating you than what it will create for a result. So it's really fun to see that. And I even had to talk with them because some of the hosts were like, we don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, because it's a different energy. And this is where if you perceive there's an expectation, just talk about it and say and ask, hey, I did this and this. Is this something like this? Or should we change it? Should we do something else? Because you're not supposed to know everything.
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Oh, absolutely.
You just said, because it's for them, it's not about, it's about the commitment you make. That's what do you mean?
I want to know too. So, okay, I'm going to take a step back. You know, when we create a class, often we create a class and the result should be that a lot of people show up, or people showed up at whatever amount. There's often some kind of result in mind why you set up a class, right?
That's the title of this call, right?
Yes. So result is often in most people's universes. If you create from abundance, you don't have in your world this energy that anybody has to show up. And you're almost like grateful that somebody shows up, and then you're willing to have people show up, and then you're willing to play with a lot of people if a lot of people show up. But you won't make it wrong if somebody doesn't show up. That's more a generative creation where you create from prosperous and not from lack. But you also can demand that people show up. We're like, hey, I would like to have people playing with me. But it's not from, if people don't show up, you're a failure. If people show up, you're successful. Then you have like the box is so nicely designed. And this is a lot. I had quite a tough time getting out of that because I was very driven that I could create lots of people in a class. That was not an issue for me even. But I also saw that I did have points of views. So when I started working in a different way, I really had to let go of the energy of that there is result with some kind of hidden or open judgment from me or from somebody else. And am I willing to create with people that would have a judgment and I don't? And sometimes I have and sometimes I don't. I have less than ever, because the difference for me now is that my classes aren't my only income, so I'm not dependent on them. So I got aware at some point I'm very dependent on the income from my classes and my sessions and all that. I'm like, no, I don't want to have that, because that's a need. I need them. It's something that if I don't have it, I don't have enough of it, or it's a lack and limitations. I want to get out of that. And then from that space, I had so much more fun creating and willing to have more people in my classes, because it was fun to have them there. It was fun to facilitate. It was fun to create. So when a person doesn't have lack in their universe in creation, there's a different energy for you to show up, willing to commit and create your life. And this is like a little bit more advanced. We can also have the people just promoting and playing and all that. That's not a problem. But when I looked at what they were looking at, it's really, hey, this is for you guys. So they were more like, oh, we'll facilitate you to create more. And I was like, oh my God, this is so different. And it's just this team like, well, if nobody shows up, please, let's go and eat. And I was like, yes, we can do that. But then we have too much fun creating classes. And I was like, why wouldn't I have lots of people in their classes? I don't get why we shouldn't create that. So any limitation that shows up, I just energetically start unpacking that. And I'm willing to outcreate any limitation of any host creator in a class. Sometimes it's not super easy because people have very intensely points of views, what's possible and not possible. And anytime I feel that, I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. What if we outcreated that? It's not from the perspective, from the point of view that, oh, we're not having enough people in our class, or this is wrong, or anything like. No, it's a limited energy. Why would we have that alive in our creation? We can just change it. We can just change it. And this is where the ongoing flow of creation, for me, it's like it's generating energy, that moving. It's not like a constant energy. It's an energy where you are actively in your creation all the time. For me personally, I look at it's almost like breathing. It's a lung that opens, it goes like this, or heartbeat. well, for me, it's more like this flow of energy moving. And when I ask questions, this energy moves, and then things show up and pop, and people ask me, do. It goes like, it's a movement, it's a flow. And this is where I have a lot of senses involved in awareness or in creation. So I sometimes taste something, it's really weird. I mean, if you guys, all the people that work with entities, you guys know there's a lot of fun stuff going on when you're creating, and you can perceive in very different ways. So, and I can hear, and sometimes the class will wake me up in the middle of like, Lisa, it's like, you have to do this. I'm like, oh my God, okay. It's really interesting because if I allow, and this is, again, where I'm jumping to 1,000 things here. For me, a class is an entity. It's an energy of its own. It has awareness. It has consciousness. It can talk to me. I can ask it questions. It requires me on the planet because we're physically having people coming. So I call them, I talk to them, I email them, blah, blah, blah. But it also has its own energy. And often when people start signing up, it just like bubbles. And I'm like, oh, you're awesome. And then I talk to it every day. And I ask it. And this is where either I also control. So I'm good at controlling too. This is where, how do you say it? The more I'm willing to let go of control, the more my class entity energy consciousness can expand beyond what I even think is possible. I still have a brain that sees what I create in some extension cognitively, in some not. And the more I have it cognitively what's possible, the more I limit the possibility of the class to create beyond that. Everything that is times a good thing. Who's trying to create that? Get in that around for the puck, all 9 shirts, boys and girls. Sorry if it was very, very, but it was like, oh, I need to let go of controlling my classes even much more. I'm like, this is awesome. Thank you guys for that. Awareness can still become a control thing. So when I ask questions to my class or my creations, hey, like for my jewelry business, I can, hey, can you go out there and find some new homes? You're allowed to do that because sometimes I love my jewelry and I don't want it to leave. And when I ask, then people start contacting me. I'm like, oh, that's easy. Oh God, shit. It's so freaking easy if I'm willing to talk to everything, because everything has consciousness. Everything. But I have to be willing to acknowledge that and also be willing. So I don't know if you guys were in the lifelines manipulation of Gary Douglas and Dane Here in the castle. Gary said very clearly and very direct, and I've never heard him saying that way, or it was time for me to listen. He never ever doubts, ever, that consciousness has his back. Ever. Ever. So whatever he creates, whatever he chooses, he knows consciousness, the universe, the planet, everything has his back. He doesn't need to know everything before he chooses something. And I realized that I did not have it 100%. I still was in doubt in some areas where I could see the energy like, oh, no, I'm not 100% in that. I do desire that. That's one of my things I want to commit to, knowing 100%. Just knowing the universe has my back, everything has my back. It's so easy to doubt, to be insecure, to have points of views, because then I can justify my limitations that I've decided are true, or I rather have my limitations than become successful, judged, and have an amazing, awesome life. We can be very comfortable with our limitations. So whatever we destroy and create, all our limitations, all our comfortableness, all our separations to have the life, to keep it all nice and comfortable. Get a matter of all 9 shirts, boys and beyonds. What if we were allowed to be on a roller coaster of uncomfortable creation outside the box, be willing to have so much fun, allow people to judge you, allow them to try to stop you, allow to make you wrong, allow just people to be who they are, because every time you choose something different, it triggers. So for me, it's almost like seeing the Matrix. It triggers something, so it triggers something in somebody, but it's freaking you changing the world. So it triggers people. Okay, fine. That's okay. And you're like, ka-ching, you do know judgments create, often money, when you're willing to receive it without any reactions, without any judgments. And this is And if you have some judgment, you're like, oh shit, let's change that. Let's change that. Because people always have points of views. We like the nice ones. We don't like the not nice ones. But all of them are judgments.
So there is no way to not make money. So everyone has a point of view. So everywhere is great.
Exactly. We just have the job, if we like, in here, to receive it, to allow to receive it.
Because there says willing to be willing to create the money. So this is maybe what he meant.
Yes.
Just willing all of them to create
willing
money.
to create the money, willing to have money, willing to be judged that you have money, willing to this is sometimes a tough one for me, or when I look up, people like you because you have money. And you're like, I remember having so many points of views about that when I was younger. I still have like, that's funny if you only have friends that like you because you have money. You're like, pot and pock that too, no? But what if all of that is not wrong? And you might create a totally different life. You might create something that's different. It's more when we have an aversion against, if you have something against, that doesn't allow things to show up. You might choose to create a different life and totally different than anybody else. But any energy you have against people just liking you because you have money, because you are, where rich people are, name it. There's so many people having points of views about. I talked to a woman that I really know well in Spain, and she doesn't have a lot of money. And then she was saying something about money. People that have money, she's standard, aren't so happy. They can't really perceive. I don't know what she said. The simple things and blah blah blah. She was constantly. I looked at her. That feels really weird you're saying, because I generate so much more money and I can't say that change for me. It almost makes it more real and I could look and enjoy it even more. It's so funny to judge somebody due to the amount of money they have, because there's idiots having money, there's idiots not having money. There is greedy people that have money, there's greedy people that don't have money, but we judge the greedy people that have money more than the ones that are greedy and not having money. So it's really literally so funny. Maybe we shouldn't say literally, because Dane will say I'm using it wrong in a wrong context. He's hilarious with the word literally. But this is where you have to be willing to look, what's your world? What's your reality? Are you willing to create your reality? Gary Douglas says it all the time. You have to be willing to ask the question, how does your reality look like? What's your reality? And this might be a question you have with you for 1, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I don't know how long, because you will step by step know them and be aware of them. And there's things that just become so clear. That's my reality. I don't have that in my reality. I don't have that. I don't have that. And I was like, it's just things that become clear for you, or having magic in everyday life. You're like, what's your reality? And then people might trigger your challenge, your reality, because you're supposed to fit in the box of this reality. And then you're like, hey, that sounds great, but no, thank you. But you don't have to say it loud. If a person needs to hear something, that's fine. No? So there's a lot of that you can look at and clear. Like, please look a lot about money, so you don't limit yourself in your creations, because you're I don't know, you're comfortable with not having money. When you have money, you will also be able to choose different things and learn things, educate yourself. There's a lot of people that avoid money because they don't know what to do with it. I'm like, I can help you invest it. That's not a problem. You can do so much. But it's literally just funny to look at how much we avoid receiving money in all areas. And just to be aware of, so if you create a class, you create it, people show up. Please be aware, before the class has shown up, to not spend the money in your head already. Please don't. Somebody said this in one of my clients, like, I already have the money. And I was like, is it on your account? No. But they're paying this, this, and this. But before the money is in your account, you don't have the money. Is a potential money that's showing up. Yes, and you can be aware, oh, I'm creating so much for this month, blah, 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 blah. But anything can happen before the class starts. So for me, nothing is done before we start the class. And even then something can happen and people leave or whatever. So are you willing to create and generate until the moment you start the class and beyond? And are you willing to allow every creation to create more? And are you willing to allow all the participants contribute to your classes and to your life?
Hi. Thanks for that. I wanted to ask, can you maybe talk a bit about like self-sabotage of one's own classes? Like, I don't know, I find I'm really like being good at that, in the sense of I'm a new facilitator, so I've just gotten my facilitators and I've created like all these classes, and then I'll self-sabotage it because I'm so shit scared of doing it wrong or failing. So then no one comes, and then, you know, like...
Well, so you already know that you're self-sabotaging, and you already know you're avoiding people to come. So you're basically already aware of what you're doing and choosing.
Yeah.
So are you...
I am aware of it. Absolutely.
Are you willing to be a horrible, like a really bad facilitator? Okay, you just suck. Like, you have people there, you just suck. Like, how bad are you willing to be?
I've never thought about it like that.
If I'm okay sucking as a facilitator, well, at least I will try better. I'm just trying to give you a different perspective, because if you you don't even get to facilitate it. But if you start facilitating, you will always create more awareness for you and others. And a great facilitator asks questions. They don't really have to know everything. And you have a manual often when you start, for example, with bars class. You have a manual. You don't have to really know a lot. It's good if you start, like, I love what they've created. When I started, there was so little information about things. Now you have a bars manual, bars facilitators guide manual. I can't even say what it's called anymore. It's a manual for bars facilitators, for example. It's awesome. I was in a class where it was created from, and when I read the manual, I'm like, this is freaking brilliant. And I keep opening ones because there's great facilitation in there. So bars facilitators don't read it. I don't really get, are they even committed to their business? Because it's good to know what's in there. So read your manual. The only preparation I would say do before a class is read the manual. That's it. And then you go into the class, you know what a bars class looks like because you have been at least at 3 of them. And if you don't know how it is, go to a 4th one. I remember being at 4 classes before I even asked for becoming a bars facilitator. And I kept on going to bars class, and I have been to all bars classes of Dane and Gary and other facilitators, because I always know I can learn more. I'm never, ever done. Ever. If I think so, because I've been facilitating bars class for 10 years, I'm so fucked up. Like, it's very just limited, right? So, but if you don't start facilitating, it's kind of like, oh, why would you deprive yourself that awareness?
I know.
But of course, if you don't want to have money and you want to keep judging yourself and making yourself wrong, then fine.
No.
Are you willing to are you willing to commit to your business? Are you willing to commit to your life?
Yeah.
And I know this might not be a super easy question, because it definitely wasn't for me. And I'm still asking that every day if I'm committed, because different energies show up. Because even if I say yes today, it doesn't really mean tomorrow that I'm committed. It's a commitment choice every day. And if you always get 100%, I do wonder if that's correct. I could be, but it definitely will change. And committing to your life, to your business, to your body, to your classes, Gary expresses in that way, you would never ever judge yourself, have a point of view, make yourself wrong if you're committed. It doesn't exist. Commitment does not have judgment included. Consciousness includes everything, but when you're committed, you wouldn't start judging yourself, because that's basically, oh, I'm committed to judging myself, not committing to creating my life.
Yeah.
So
wow.
If you're willing to commit your life, let's just start creating and then allow things to show up, because every choice you make will create more awareness. Even if you have 1 participant, 2 participants, 3 participants, I have no idea what that will create for the future. I remember in Denmark when we started creating lots of classes, and then Jonas and I went in there, created lots of classes, and other facilitators, and then it really went rolling. And Bars facilitators, there were so many of them. They all had like 10, 15 people in the classes. And when they started having less, like 5, 6 people, they start judging it to not work or being a failure. And I remember catching one because I called her for something else. And she said, I'm canceling my class. I only have like 5 participants. And I was like, what? Yeah, because it's not 10, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God, I think they have missed a point here. But that became a standard there because it was so generative in Denmark at that time. It's many years ago, and it's not the same now. And it became a conclusion for a little while. And then that really usually destroys creation. And if you're allowing everybody to show up, but also willing to ask for more people to show up, and are you prepared to have 10, 15 people in your classes? Do you look at the logistics of that? A lot of people rent venues that are super small because they're so cheap. And then but when we grow then? And I was like, oh, but yes, but maybe can this class even grow? Because you're so happy with a little less expensive venue. So, for example, I remember Jonas and I were like, oh, no, we want to have bigger classes. So we bought 5 massage tables. We even changed the car so it could fit in. We were a little extreme. So we wanted to be able to drive around and do lots of classes and have the possibility to bring at least 5 massage tables because we wanted everybody to be able to be on a massage table. So we would have at least 10 people. And then we were sure there would be other massage tables and blah, 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 blah. No? And sometimes we rented venues with massage tables. So it was really cool. So we were also willing to look how to make it work so we can grow with ease. We had a great printer. We just ordered, picked it up, everything was done. We created really nice manuals because we love them and not cheap ones. Like we started looking at what kind of classes would we like and what kind of quality. What would I like to gift my people that show up? What amazing experience. And for me, it was like all the service things. I also wanted to make sure people were happy in the class, were laying comfortable and having extra things. We had tons of blankets and pillows and everything. We had like 3, 4 IKEA bags full of them. And I remember when I moved up from my apartment and was going to live to Spain, I was like, Jonas, do you want these? He's like, well, I can store them in case we do lots of classes again. I'm like, you have them. Because we didn't really need them anymore because we weren't doing so many classes here anymore in Sweden. But it was really fun to see, am I willing to create greater? Am I willing to look what's required to expand? It doesn't mean you have to invest a lot of money. You have to be willing just to look at it, ask questions. And if you have a judgment that you might not be a good facilitator, well, how should you know if you haven't done it? Let's just start. And one thing that always improves is when you facilitate more.
Yep. Thank you. That's brilliant.
And a great facilitator asks questions, right?
Yeah.
So then you have a lot of that. And then most of it is in the manual as well. There's so much to do in the manual. So people are usually very happy with the class. And then if you don't know something, you can say, I'm sorry, I don't know this, but I'll make sure to get the information and I'll call you and give it to you. So there might just be questions that you cannot address, and that's fine too. It's okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm just gonna look at these questions here. Like I have not looked at the chat. I only saw about engagement. I'll see if I can get to that. Yes, with that. I create now a new job to have more fun with my classes, not depending on class. It was I got from where this year. Super. It's really cool because otherwise it becomes this desperate energy of creation and might not be so much fun. And take care of you. Thank you so much. I was so tired before this class, but now I'm so inspired. Have more answers for topics I was worried about and have bigger space to ask a lot for myself, for my beautiful business entity. Yay! What if I perceive so much of what's going on in people's minds on Facebook that I just have days I can't get into Facebook at all? Is it 2 and 7 too much? So I just avoid it. Yeah, that is a good one. There's 2 more. Let's see. This was my story last year. Now, what bigger than this? I think. There's some private things being said here. So this is awesome. This was the Facebook thing because for me, Facebook is like a platform of awareness. It's I just love going out there, even if it goes like, oh God, there's a lot of points of views. Then I have, oh, that's a space. And then I always look from that energy. It's like, what can I do different? You don't have to take care of energies. The energies are not yours. So just be aware to never soak them into your body and make them real or take care of them. They're not real. They're just energies. They're not real. They're just flowing around. There's awareness. There's always awareness. So sometimes it's my like a pilot thing going in there and flowing around and looking at it, what are people talking about, and then I get some inspiration and I see a video that somebody posts and it makes me super happy. And then I read some really weird stuff and I was like, okay, interesting point of view. And then I can play with the tools so I get to facilitate myself getting out of something. So I use that also as a platform facilitating myself. But everything is just an interesting point of view. When you're about to post something on Facebook, I don't know if you noticed that, you're writing, you're about to press, you're like, oh, some energies show up. That's basically an awareness, what it might create, what possibilities there are. And sometimes I read it again, is this okay written? Or is it gonna, like sometimes you don't really want to write something, you wrote it in a way that it could be misunderstood. And basically awareness is showing up, so you change the writing. And sometimes it's just like, oh, this will just be fun. But it's awareness. The moment I click on something, I have an awareness. I don't have the words often, but there's a space of energy. And then I'm like, oh, cool. But it's not me to take care of everybody. I don't take care of people. What if, Noah, you were willing to allow all the energies to be, but there's not like good and bad energy. It's just energies. So what if always, like, I remember in my first class with Dane, it was very interesting because I worked a lot with healing and energy coaching and things like that. So I meet Dane in Sweden, this Right Body for You class. And I was looking at, because I came from a lot of modalities, as we often do. And he was asking me about my points of views and what was basically, because I had learned a lot about moral and ethnic things and what to do and not ethic and things. And there was just a lot of barriers, what I was allowed to do and not. And what he did energetically take that away. So I had choice to go wherever I wanted to go with the clients, with the energy that was there. So, and then he asked me, well, if you say this or you say that, what happens in your body? So it's like it triggered things. So I said, oh, so we were basically clearing all the points of views about energy, how they were programmed to create a reaction in me. And I'm not saying I'm free of it, but it gave me so much more space to know energy is just energy. And it's a program if it feels good, bad, heavy, blah, blah, blah. So I also can change it. It can also, like, every energy can be caring for me, But then sometimes it's just like, I don't like that taste today. I often compare it to ice cream energies. You go to ice cream, I was going to say shop, and you want to choose, you don't choose every taste and you love them. You don't love all tastes. Some more, and this day, yes, this day you want strawberry, next day you want lime, I don't know, whatever. Huh? So energies are just like ice cream. Some you prefer today and some you don't, but they can all contribute to you.
So it's like maybe I can look at it as if it's a Facebook algorithm for emotional programming, and I'm doing beyond this algorithm. I mean, it's like really, it's very interesting what you said. It's like the programming thing. It's like Facebook is designed to program to make us feel, you know,
yes.
comparing each other, not good enough, want to belong or not belong. It's really that thing in itself, and
if you have the right life, if you're successful, if you're like
impression and things.
Right image.
So that's what is incarcerating me. So one way to do what you said, and I wonder if there's anything more. Maybe just that awareness is awesome.
It's awesome, and you can ask questions, and then also willing to, like, if you see that you go into all that shit often, then you're like, okay, is that what I'm prioritizing in my life, to have a shitty thing, or am I willing to be happy no matter if anybody else is happy? I can have bad days, but I'm not going to always post them on Facebook if I have a bad day. But I don't pretend to be happy if I'm not.
yeah, and also get also the big pretense of people. It's like they write something like happy, happy, and I perceive like,
yeah. And when you perceive that, you're just aware, but you don't have to do anything with awareness. You're like, oh, okay, they're maybe not that happy. And then you leave it with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and another thing that goes on is like, people posting pictures with the people that were in the class. So yeah. It's like, oh, he had 10 people, he had 20 people,
yes. Oh,
this
yeah.
one had none.
Very
like comparing.
important.
This is very, this is sticking me when I see that. It's like, and I don't put on Facebook any photos after classes because of that. Doesn't matter how many people I have in class.
No,
I just don't.
but you're reacting to that.
Yeah.
So you're limiting your choices due to the reaction that you don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. Huh? So what if, because I usually didn't do, but a lot of people want to do them now. So I'm like, I have to do photos of my classes now because people like posting them themselves too. And I'm like, So there's a question I love. And again, this is one that Stephen Tuso use a lot. Are you creating or are you proving?
Again?
Are you creating or are you proving?
Proving.
Yes, and when you look at posts on Facebook, you can ask, are they proving or are they creating? It could be the same post and it just has two different energies. So how many people want to prove that they're successful? Yeah, so everything that is, can we destroy and create that? Good and bad, right, wrong, put and pock, all nine shorts, boys and meows. You destroy and uncreate it until you let it go. You don't do it once and then you're like, I destroyed it and created it. No, destroy and uncreate it, good and bad, right, wrong, put and pock, all nine shorts, boys and meows. Are you willing to have allowance that people prove that they're successful?
I would like that.
Yeah, everything doesn't allow that. Can we destroy and create this? Good and bad, right, wrong, put and pock, all nine shorts, boys, meows. So we're like, basically so I have to choose, again, commitment, no? I have to willing to commit. Am I letting go of my fucking point of view or am I going to stick to it because I have a point of view? And my point of view is right. I have a reaction, they're doing this, da, 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 da. You can keep yourself there and then you're creating a limited life. Or you fucking get aware that you're limiting yourself and then you're like, okay, am I ready to change this? No. Okay. But then you don't have to punbuck yourself in that moment, no? Then get on with your life and look at it again. Don't remember it. It would be good. And then like, hey, am I willing to change that? And then at some point you might get a more yes and like, no matter what it takes, I'm going to change this now. And then for example, I go out for a walk with Sinja or I take my time or I'm in the shower, like whatever. And then I start asking questions, punbuck, da, 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 da. And look at every energy of anything. I'm fooling myself. I'm trying to hide this, where I'm not willing really to let it go because I'm right. I'm like this stupidity of being right and not wrong. You all have heard about that one, no? So going really, what life would I like to create? No, I don't want to have a judgment about that. I don't want to have a reaction. Okay, because I know when I don't have a reaction, I have possibilities to create. There's a space of creation again. Then it's like, oh, I can breathe again. Then I can post my class because I love my class and I post a lot of photos from the class and I'm just happy with my class. And I don't care if somebody thinks I'm successful or not, if there's a lot of people or not. I don't care. These are happy people. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you create from your space and you can do the same post as they do, but from a different energy. Because it's joyful. And sometimes this is a fun thing I see often on Facebook. So people post how many people were in class to show how many people were. And if there's not enough people, they usually don't do it. And I was like, so they usually do have a point of view. And that's fine. But what if the numbers are not defining what you're creating? What if the numbers don't define who you are as a facilitator, who you be as a facilitator? What if numbers do not matter, but you're also willing to have people in your classes? Because we all know, I mean, it took me a while to really get the energy where Gary says, if I have one person that changes their life, I'm successful as a facilitator. And I mean, I heard it. But it took a while to really like, oh God, I had so many points of views. I'm not successful if I don't have a great business, if I don't have a income that really is fun to have. Like and I keep on looking at this and I'm like, he has a point because he kept saying it. And I looked at it and I'm like, no. And then I saw I'm not willing to say that I'm successful. That was one of the hardest things ever for me personally. I didn't want to admit that I was successful. I would rather say, no, I'm working, I'm changing, I'm getting, like. So that took a while. And then when I got it, I was like, oh my God, the world really truly changes when one person changes their life. And I was like, having that person in my life, no matter if it's close or not, seeing that person changing, being happier, like whatever changes, it's like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And that moment I saw, oh wow, I'm willing to receive it now. That's cool.
Lizanne,
yeah.
Actually, I would like to say I'm very gratitude about I know you, because few years I know you.
Yes.
Even one word, we have a conversation, could be breakfast or someplace. You touched my life. So the classes not always changes the people's life, but even the one conversation, even you tell me something, even very one sentence maybe, you touched my life. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's not start crying here. Thank you, Shada. And this is, I mean, what she says is, we don't know when we contribute to somebody. I desire that everybody has a great business because I know it's going to be more fun for everybody. Money is, I get it now. We don't have to have problems with money. We can make a lot of money and have a lot of fun. I do see we might need to get out of points of views what it means and how it means. And contributing to people and changing people's life can come in any moment. And they do. They come in every moment. And also when you do shit and you're an asshole and you're a bitch and you create shit, if you keep yourself limited by that choice, that you did something wrong, you did something mean, you did something bad, and you stick yourself with that, then you also are diminishing the possibilities you could be to create more in the world. I've done my share of shit, and there are moments I still do shit, and I was like, okay, but it doesn't mean that I'm only that. It's those that become a little bit more like neon yellow and in your face. They become very intense, and then like, oh well, there's other way too. There's also just a little smile, and there's a little word, and whatever it is. But what if you're willing to commit to your business, to your life, to you, to your body, and willing to have people show up in your classes? What if you're willing to facilitate them? What if you're willing to have a lot of fun and contribute to them? For me, also, was a space of willing to be in contact and engaging. Yastar asked about that a bit in the beginning. For me, first CF with Gary said, call people, call people, call people. I was like, yes, I can call people. I always loved calling people. But then I started calling people from a space where I don't need people. I'm only engaging and being curious about them. So they don't need ever to show up in my class, ever. But I always called every person that registered. Now I'm like, oh, I haven't done that in the last class. Listen. In the beginning, it was easier. And then when it grew really big, I didn't have always the possibility. So I hoped to work with a host so they also do it. And for me, it's really tough when hosts don't like calling. It's like, oh, they chat, they send a message. I'm like, but it's a very different energy as saying hi. What I preferably do is call them before the class and just check in and see who they are and what I can contribute. And also being aware that there's not a checklist that they will come. There's an awareness that something might happen or change, and also like what's required of me. One time it's just like a little hi and welcome email again or something that helps them to overcome whatever is going on. And I often say, is there anything showing up before a class? Because the process starts, and the days before a class there can be a lot of shit coming up. Have you noticed that as a facilitator? When I was co-facilitating a lot with Jonas, we had major, not conversations. We always also had some pretty brilliant fights the morning before the class. And we're like, oh God. But we also, the moment we start facilitate, it was not there. It was like, That's not our world. It was, and we kept on being very not smart because it was always before the class. It was like, because the energy were up, but we were not totally brilliant as we are now. No, I'm just joking. But it was fun to see because things show up. So I also tell my clients, like, if anything shows up, if it feels really weird or wonky, sometimes it's the process starting because you committed to changing something in your life. If you need any assistance or want to talk, just call me or let me know. And then I also call them after a class, maybe a couple of weeks, and just say hi, because they might not know what the fuck changed and they have nobody to talk to. So I do that with anybody basically, but I do it often with the clients. But also, like, if I perceive somebody, and I ask every day, who can I call, who can I connect to, who can I say hi to, because I also know I might be the one contributing to a change because there's something, oh, that person requires something, and I don't know what it is. But I also have seen it so many times that people say, how did you know? Why are you calling me? I really required to talk to you. I'm like, well, I didn't know. I only knew that the universe told me, call her, because the name popped up or something popped up, and then I'm willing to call. And I was like, and I can see the last 1-2 years, and also when I got super busy, I started calling less. But I also see nobody almost calls on a phone anymore. I was like, and here in Scandinavia, almost everybody sends a chat. I'm like, it's so boring. Please call me. So I start calling more people again. And I was like, when my business isn't creating as much as I would like to, I just start calling random people again. I start doing changes in my apartment. I just start doing changes and doing something different to engage with the energy.
And when you don't like to talk on the phone with people, because I know Gary talks about it so much, and he encourages to make phone calls. I really don't like to talk on the phone with people. So,
would you like to talk or
now
not?
I'm going with a point of view that I'm wrong because I can't do it. Or
No. Let's stop. Do you like talking to people? Yes or no?
Yes, but not on the phone.
Well,
No.
not so.
Not so much. With my head, yes.
Well, so it's a yes with. So there's. I would look at that if you're willing to let it go.
Yeah.
You might have experiences like this better than that, but then if you looked at it, if you called more people, would it create and generate more? So I ask questions, and then if you have a point of view, you might get a no. You have to be aware of that. But I
have a point of view that it's a waste of time.
Oh my God! So Orna, are you willing to destroy and create that? Will you
Yes.
create that?
Yes. Yeah.
Good amount of work online insurance boys. You might need a couple more pot and pucks. But here's the thing: if you have a point of view of waste of time, everything will show you that.
Oh wait, my computer is.
Oh, you still hear me?
Now I hear you.
You will prove your point of view. So if you have a point of view, you will always prove it.
Yeah.
Since I started Access, I have deliberately made sure that in my calendar, there's enough space to call people. So if people fill their calendar, like their days with sessions, all like, no. I always have sessions that are calling or space of creation, space for there to allow people. And then I always call people when I'm out with my dog or when I do something. I'm like, who can call now? I call them. And then they show up. But I've never seen a waste of my time to engage and be with a person and be curious about their lives. Because one of the things I notice is every conversation I have has been a contribution to my life. So I don't call with the point of view that I need to get anything out of this, or that I'm the facilitator, or that I need to help them, or I need to make sure they choose something. No, I'm curious. I'm willing to be there for them. I'm willing to engage with them. I'm willing to talk to them and just have fun with them. And what contribution can we be to each other? And I can say so many times when I've had a call, they say something that triggers something that makes me, oh my God. I've had conversations, they talk about whatever, and it gives me the awareness I've been asking for several days. So I'm like, they just facilitated me without knowing it because they didn't say what it had, but it triggered the energy. I'm like, that was fabulous. So a waste of time? Yes, if it's a waste of time for you. But what if it was a contribution to changing your life?
I get it. it's like I make,
Yes.
it's like it's more easy for me to talk, really. I know it sounds funny, but like.
What is it? Easier what?
Sorry?
What
Oh.
did you say? Sorry, say it again. It's easier.
It's easy. It's like I know it sounds strange, but I can, when it's quiet and I have quiet at night, and it's like I'm talking with people during, like I perceive their energy and I'm making conversation, but it's all in my head. And then in the morning, I don't have to, I really want to change it. I don't know how. It's like it's locked up in my head.
So maybe, but Orna, what if that's an ability you have? And you have fun with that?
Oh.
It seems as you like talking to energies. I mean, and a lot of people will receive something from it. It's not bad. It's great.
That's what happens. Sometimes somebody is calling me and he said, look, you popped up. I have a question.
Exactly.
When they call me, I'm happy to talk with them, but.
Oh, when they call you.
Yeah, but like.
You're funny. So you have some maybe interesting points of views here.
It's funny that my internet is unstable now.
Good that it's recorded.
yeah, I will definitely listen.
So this is,
to this
you guys,
again.
I think all of you guys hear this, and we have some more tendencies if we like calling or talking and all that. But I see most people like chatting because it's a little bit more separated. We can keep people on a distance. If you have somebody on the phone, the energy's there. It's very clear. It's direct as well. You have to be willing just to be with a person and be you, and be vulnerable and ask questions and be there for them. I would not say, or not ever, to stop doing what you're doing at night. I think that sounds like fabulous energetic contribution and work and creation. Awesome. What else is possible? But what, I saw you turn off the videos. I get it. It gets better internet. But what if you were willing to add? When you know you have a point of view about something, I usually challenge that point. So, okay, what if creating a couple of phone calls per week would create more business? Would you choose it? Would you commit to your business, yes or no?
I guess it's something about committing to my business lately, yeah.
Because if you commit to your business, you might create more.
Or to my life.
Yes. Exactly. So that's why I say committed to your life, committed to your business, because they are not separated, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Anything that you see saying, I don't like that, or blah, 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 is usually an awareness where we're not choosing something that could create something different for your life or your business. I don't like is also a point of view.
Yeah, definitely.
But you were very clear. It's a waste of time. And that clarity, how you say it, is awesome, Orna, because you don't even have to like hide it. You know it.
I know it, yeah.
Yeah. You just need to be willing to choose something different and not be stubborn. Like Israeli people, I wasn't that NLP. I have heard a lot.
Yeah.
And I know you guys for a while. You're very stubborn also.
Yeah.
Well, it's really, really good. Why wouldn't you use that to create with it?
It's like the self-sabotaging was mentioned before.
And what if you were never, ever willing to let go, give in, give up creation, and use that stubbornness to go all the way to create a fabulous life and allow yourself to be happy?
Wow, thank you for that.
Money.
Yeah.
But also, if you have money, I can say one of the things that really triggers a lot of people, also me, was having to let go of complaining. You can always create new complaining things, but there is something where it doesn't make any sense anymore when you have more money. There's some things that you cannot, it becomes so absurd. Like, you can't say that anymore because it's not true. You're like, okay, oh boy. So are you willing, this is for me, like, are you willing truly to be happy and choose to have more happiness in your life?
I didn't hear you, but yes.
Are you willing to have more happiness in your life?
I wasn't hear the question, but yes.
Are you willing to have more
I was just hearing, are you willing to? So
have more
yes.
happiness in your life? Be more happy. I know money doesn't make you happy. It creates more ease. Like I can choose things. I couldn't choose business before. I created magical business upgrades. But now I can choose to fly business because I was willing to commit to create that because I wanted to have that in my life. I was like, no, I want to have that. I want to have that as my choice. Not, oh, I'm now successfully choosing it. No, I want that as a normal thing in my life. But it took a while to get there. I wasn't willing to give up. It is not as easy not to choose it, I must say, because it's so damn fucking comfortable. It's so yummy for my body. But this is the thing. It's just money. But I was willing to create more money to have the things I would like to have in my life and stop having the more miserable, proud of not having money and making it anyway life. Because I was making tons of money to access. It was so funny. In I don't know if it was a 7 days. I think it was a 7 days. And I asked Gary because I was creating a good life for me, but it was not in the means that it could be. And I saw it. I could just, get aware like, and I was like, I create, and I love creating for access and I create lots of money and I have no point of view about that. That was super easy, fun, lots of money. I even rolled around it and gave sometimes the cash to Dave. Here, I just rolled around in your money because it was fun. Huh? And I asked Gary and he said, he basically, I don't remember how he said it. I was proud of not needing or having money and showing that I could live with less. So I didn't need, so I was proud. I didn't need it. You can have it. Like you need it. I don't. So it was a proudness of not having money. I was like, boom. And it was how he said it, how brilliant Gary is. He's like, smack, schmuck. And you're sitting like, oh God. And it was so true. And I was like, I hadn't seen that one. I was like, oh, I'm proud of this. Fuck. And then, okay. And it was just like, oh, let's change this. This has no meaning in anymore in my life. It might have had some meaning at some point, just stupidity ruling my life in some way, and I committed to that. So let's commit to something else. And I think we can have a whole class creation where we talk about all the magical tools of creation. Because I haven't even started talking about all the magic that is possible to be and create with classes but this is where you all know this basically, but we can talk about it and explore it and have more fun with it. But when you have any point of view very solid and you keep that, kind of hard to make the magic flow around and create for you. But it's easy. The thing is, magic is so much easier than anything you have created. Like, oh, I'm successful. I've created this hard. I've really made my, I don't know, we work hard. And I don't mean that you work less, but the way you work can be so much more ease, so much more magical, so much more fun. And if you allow the universe to be your co-creator, you have a fucking universe to co-create with you. If you have the point of view, you are creating your business, so if you don't do it, it will not happen, it will not show up. Well then, yes, you're controlling everything that can come into your life. Are you aware that you control your income a lot? And you all know, controlling bitches, including me. I'm so good at this. And I'm willing to out-create yourself in this area.
Can I ask a question on that?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's almost like, you say like the awareness, or like really knowing that the universe has your back. And I perceive that I have some kind of this fluffy energy in my world, like, oh yeah, the universe, I ask, receive. And then somewhere also this energy of like, if I want to grow things in my life even more, I will fucking have to submit to the universe. I will have to submit to that, to actually not just have it as like, this the secrets or whatever. I've read The Secret, I know how it works, but like really something else. So can you talk more, like, is there something I can ask there to really like?
I love it because we all know the fluffiness when we were saying like, we all know that one, I think. Or it's great when we are aware when we're fluffy with ourselves. And some funny part is the fluffiness works to some degree. So we kind of prove that it works, and then we get caught up in that. When we get aware that it's also a limitation, because almost everything does create in some way, one way or another. But if you're aware, like for me, the difference, number one, was the difference for me to look at commitment. But commitment did not have fluffiness, and it did not have doubt. It did not have self-sabotage. It did not include making myself wrong. It did not judge my creations. And I'm like, wow, commitment is such a powerful tool and choice, and I have to be willing to make it every day. That was one energy that constantly looked, because I'm like, when I look at a class, and I was like, am I committed to? Yes. Because when I say yes, it's like, boom, I'm on. We're on. We're driving. We're going. We're doing this. And then I know there's not failure involved. It's just, but if it shows up that I will cancel anyway, it doesn't matter, but I can be 100% committed, and also committed if I even cancel a class at some point, but 100% committed to it. And then for me, I can't say there's one way of getting to this energy of having the universe, knowing that the universe has your back and creating with you. I think there's tons of way of being that, having that, choosing that. And the communion with nature, with everything, it's like an ongoing choice, exploration. I never see that I'm done with it. I always see more and more and more. I would say horses have facilitated that a lot for me, because I cannot tell the horse, do this and this and this exercise. They're not that well trained, and I usually don't have time to train them, because I just show up and then we get going. I don't even try the horses the day before, anything. Like, it's just showing up. And in that moment, I have to be willing to know. I have to be willing to know that the universe is basically present creating with me, and the universe in that moment is also part, like, with the horses. And I know the horses, I mean, there can be horses that don't want to create with me. That's fine. Then they say no. Then that will be very clear. But if I'm not willing to have that awareness with horses, I'm kind of fucked. And they have really literally helped me. But how that shows up in everybody's world, I cannot say. But I ask, hey, one of my demands was to have communion with nature in a different way. Be willing to allow every molecule to contribute to my life. And I'm not there yet. I'm still on my adventure. Allowing the universe to be my co-creator. That one I kind of have liked a lot, and I've explored a lot. And I think there is, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe I'm just on 10% of it. But you ever talk to the entities facilitator, right? So you can talk to entities. So if the universe... Yeah.
It's really there, the month of less fluffiness, because fluffiness is really like, and it's not like it. It's really. But thank you for, like, there's a lot of energetic information also in what you're saying. So thanks.
So allow the universe to be. I mean, if you had a business partner, how would you talk to it? Would you make a deal and deliver with the universe? And what does a deal and deliver mean for you?
Haha. Can you say more? Or is that another call?
I'm like, how many calls should we have? I might have to do a telecall on this, but this is really fun, because deal and deliver from most perspective is, what will I receive from you, or what can I expect from you? But a deal and deliver is more, what are you willing to contribute? What are they willing to contribute? What do you demand of yourself? What would you desire for them to create? And you get a lot of awareness from it, but you can never expect anything, because that is their willingness, their commitment to them. They're back to that commitment to them, to their creation. I can only be aware if they're willing to be creating, or they're willing to commit to their lives, basically, more or less. So I had a really fun experience yesterday. And this is not class creation, but creation. So I'm buying furniture for my apartment because I don't have so much. So I'm at the moment going to antique stores because I want older stuff and designer stuff and all that. So I found a new place. I'm like, I'll go there. And I drove there and I come in there and there's these safe boxes. You know, when you are in a bank and these are like the rows of safe boxes, like where you store things. And they had a whole row, like 24 of those boxes in a whole, like, and I was like, huh? I could have my save at home. This is awesome. So I got so excited. You should have seen me. Like, I love safes anyway. And I love all the bank things. And I love going to vaults, like are big and huge. I just love that energy. And this was like, wow, I can have this at home, that energy. So I got super happy. And it costs around 600 euros or something like that. And it weighs like 150, 200 kilos. I'm like, where do you place this? You can't move it anywhere. Like, it was so funny, my universe. And then I went home and I was like, okay, I'll let you know tomorrow if I'm buying it. So I go home, show it my dad, and he says some things, and he asks if there's keys. I'm like, no, there's no keys. I'm like, why wouldn't you want to have keys? I'm like, I don't really care about keys. So he just like, I would wait and find something else with a key, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, and I asked, hey, will it create more to wait? Yes or no? And I was like, no, I don't want to wait. And then I asked, if I buy you, will it create more money? Will it create more? Will it create more money? I was like, whoa, yes, I love this energy in my life. I'd like to have this in my home. So I was going to buy it today. And so I said to the universe, hey, universe, you have a day. If you want to create something greater, if we can have one with key, because it would be good if we could lock it up. I could lock up some jewelry too when I'm not here. That would be awesome. But I still will have this one otherwise. And I wake up, and the first click I do on Facebook, there's this marketplace. One of these freaking boxes, no, 2 of them show up, exactly the same design. And I'm sitting there, you're freaking kidding me. And it's a private person selling them, 2 of them. So it's like, I don't know how I can have those 2 at home. 2 of them for only 200 euros and with 1 key. And I'm like, you're hilarious, universe. You give me only 1 key? And then he's like, yeah, we're selling both together because there's only 1 key for both of them and we don't want to separate them, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you're kidding me. So before breakfast, I bought 2 of these things without looking at them, without visiting them. I just like, hey, I'll send you the money, Bob. I gave it to them. And then I bought it. So I was like, this is where I saw the demand of having that in my life, no matter what. And I'll have it also greater. And it just shows up. And I felt it was so like you were laughing at me. Because when I choose and I'd like to have it, it creates more. It creates something else, something different. It's very clear. If I doubt, if I hesitate, if I don't want it, I'm not sure, there's something better, that's a very interesting energy to create from. So what if you were clear and you're willing to go 100% with your creation no matter what? And you're willing to create in the last minute. You know, we haven't even started to talk about humanoids, how to engage, create, promote, invite humanoids to classes. And one of the things that is a non-invitation is if you judge your class not to have participants or people showing up, because that humanoids perceive that, and so they cannot show up. So humanoids often have the tendency, and you might know this yourself, to choose if you're later. You choose in the last minute, even if you knew today that you're going to choose it in 2 months. You choose to say yes, maybe 3 days before the class, or 1 day before the class, or the evening before the class, because you're a humanoid instead of, hey, I'm committing today. I'll have it today. So there's different ways, but people, when they're starting their class, bars, foundation, all that, they might not be aware, so they'll choose in the way they're aware of choosing always. No? So what if you allowed everybody to show up whenever they want to show up? And so my class creation and generate never ends. It doesn't end the day before either. So how much more fun can you have in your creations? And if you're willing to be in the question, what's required today? What can I do? What can I be for my class? What energy, space, and consciousness can me and my body be to create more than I even can fathom or think is possible from my classes, or for the classes, not even my classes, the classes. And everything that's not like good and bad, romp and pop, all 9 shorts, boys and girls. And then expand your energy, allow people to show up. And then, the energy ball, you can pull in energy for people from everywhere to come to your classes. I have a tendency that people fly into my classes. Wherever I have a class, people fly to the classes. And that's become my reality. I have a horse class in Austria. I think 80% of the participants come from Germany. I'm like, this is fun. And it's such a beautiful place. I'm like, I get why the Germans are coming there, because it's so beautiful. The Austrians already know it, or whatever. I don't know. And I don't need a recent justification. It's just like, observation, and then what else is possible? And maybe the Austrians all choose in the last minute. And then I'll make sure to have lots of manuals with me so more people can show up. Whatever is required. I don't know, so I don't have to conclude this is that or this is that. And are you willing to allow people to show up and surprise you? I know I mean, Access is growing so much. We have amazing potentials. It's so much easier than for 10 years ago. It was like so new. There was much more work to be done. Now it's almost like we forget some of the work to be done, and then we almost like judging it before we even start it. So you're willing to create, generate, and institute. Create and generate a business, an institute that people show up, or institute the class or whatever. And it's not that they have to show up or from a judgment, but you're also willing to have them show up. That's why I say, hey, are you willing to fill your classes? And it's not from a judgment, it's from awareness that, hey, are you willing to demand that of yourself, that you create amazing classes? And really great thing to do for always or ever is to destroy and uncreate all or every or any point of view, judgment, conclusions about numbers, about how many participants, what's successful, not successful. Because what I've seen is some of my smallest classes have created so amazing stuff for the future that I had no idea of. And some of the greatest classes have been great too. So it's like I've had from 3 people in a foundation to 30 something in a foundation. And I've had intros up to 70, 80 people. I've had intros with 10 people. I started with 3 people. And during the years, it's gone up and down. So it's not like you're always going to have more and more and more. No, but what if you allowed your business to see it as a whole thing, not as a separate entities of the classes? So I see like 3 months creation. How does like my business look like? Am I willing to double that? Am I willing to triple that? What's required to double my income? I ask that, what's required? And then like energy show up. I'm like, oh, but it's not only the energy of I have to do more, but sometimes it is doing something different. But it also sometimes has entitled me to change points of views or create more energies or more questions and so on and so on and so on. I can definitely talk about this a lot, but I really, really like creation. And it's no matter what I do, it's still a creation in some way. And class creations have been a lot of fun because we have amazing tools. We're contributing and allowing people to create their own lives, to become leaders in their lives, to choose something that maybe nobody else is choosing. So I'm also willing to see what amazing gift you are to the world, that you are facilitating classes, no matter how many people show up. And what if there's nothing you're not willing to do and be? How does it get any better? This is cool. I love working with you guys, or working with you, creating this with you guys, talking about it. It's like, I got so much more inspiration, having more fun with this. And it's just can be so much fun. And also, not everything might be glorious, perfect, happy, joyful. And especially now, if you try something new, you all know when you do something new, it's not always comfortable. And it's not always about being comfortable. It's also just willing to create something different. And when you're willing to create something different, well, you can freak out and just move forward. Just do it, and just do it. And then you will see something else shows up. Where can we find the replay? We're going to still register for the, yes, they can still register for the replay. Absolutely. I'll send it out as well. I noticed today I was really bad because my last Zoom I didn't send out. I was like, badly said. I still need a little bit more people contributing in my business, helping me sending out stuff, for example. So I'll ask for a little bit of that. But I will definitely send this recording out, maybe even today or tomorrow. Oh no, maybe tomorrow. And I'll post it. I'll upload it on YouTube too and post it on my profile page so if you missed it out there. And let's have more conversations like this. This is fun. And I might also create like a little telecall or something where we can play with creations and go deeper and have a lot of time. I was like, there's so much we can do with this, because what if you really were willing to let go of your limited points of views that you think are real or valuable? Because you can do so much more. Like, come on, guys, you're amazing. You guys are amazing. And a lot of you guys I've seen for many years. So like, we're just going to continue. We're going to create more. And I had the joy to create with a lot of you guys in different areas. And I know how brilliant you are. But you know, I can see your brilliance and you can see mine, and I'll avoid mine and you'll avoid yours, and we'll change that, right? This is fun. So, but also, hey, what if we just allowed people to know what else is possible, and also willing to show the world that we can create in a different way. And also on Facebook, what if we're willing to be a different energy, willing to contribute to people, willing to share things, willing to play with things. Yeah, what can we choose that is so different? What can we choose? Like if you look at competition, like, hey, what can I choose that it would be more fun for me? What if there is abundance of people and I would create from that space? Not totally believe it yet, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. And we can also talk about hosting and being hosted, and we can talk about going to other different countries and what that creates. So you don't have to keep being in your country either. So sometimes you going somewhere else and creating something changes your world. So it might change the way you create as well. So be aware of that. Let's upgrade Facebook. Yes, let's upgrade Facebook and all the points of views on Facebook. Because Facebook is fun. It's a fun platform, but there's a lot of people having points of views and we don't need to have them. Thank you guys. Thank you so, so much. I think I might re-listen to this because you guys were fabulous and fun to play with. And if I can be anything for you guys, let me know. Let's create more on the planet.
Thank you, Lisanne. Almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
I mean, you're so generous. Thank you. You were so kind.
I suck
almost 2 hours. You are online.
Suck at being punctual in ending.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was amazing.
That's my dog.
Aw,
Bye.
Yeah.